YouTube stars.
All right, welcome to the next installment of our alumni interviews. Today is a very, very special day. Usually I'm interviewing one person, but today I'm interviewing many. So this is really exciting. We have a lot of alumni that have met on our Teach in Thailand program and then went to teach in Spain and are all doing amazing things afterwards from their CIE program. So we're going to be talking to them about things like making friends, building community, and kind of what experiences you can get out of the CIE Teach Abroad programs. So my name is Rachel Dietz. I'm the CIE Sales and Marketing Manager for CIE TEFL. I am an alumni of the Madrid program myself. And yeah, just super excited to be interviewing these ladies today. So Gabby, I'll have you start and then we'll kind of go around. I'll call on people to introduce themselves to get it started.
Perfect. As always, my name is Gabby. I am also an alumni of the Teach in Spain and Teach in Thailand program, where I met these beautiful, amazing people right here, and I'm so excited to be interviewing them today. I am a Teach in TEFL program advisor, so you may have seen me in the other alumni interviews, but yeah, this one's really special, like Rachel said, and I can't wait to catch up with these wonderful, wonderful girlies.
Excellent. Great. And Kaylee, will you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Kaylee. I'm also an alumni of Teach in Thailand and Teach in Spain. And I'm actually still teaching in Spain. I'm about to go into my fourth year in Madrid. Take a trap, you just can't leave. And I'm so excited to be on this call with everybody. It's been a long time since we've all been in
and
group
maybe
meetings.
we get to know each other sometimes because we believe that abruptly or something.
Sorry.
Or there was
I had a YouTube video on it because I'm trying to give the YouTube link to folks that are asking in the chat. Emma, will you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Emma. Also, this is such a fun little title, the alumni of CIEE Thailand and Spain. I love that. I've been, after Madrid, I've been now in Berlin for the past 2 years, teaching at an international school. Also feel like it's a trap. Don't plan on leaving anytime soon. So yeah, that's me.
Excellent. And Jillian, will you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jillian, obviously an alumni of the Teach in Thailand, Teach in Spain program. I stayed in Madrid for 3 years. I just finished my contract at the end of May, and I'm back in the States, hopefully temporarily, trying to save money for grad school. But I mean, I've been back here for 2 months, missing Madrid and abroad a lot for sure.
Excellent. Great. All right. So in the interviews that I have done so far, I really like to just walk through kind of the full timeline of how things happen when you decide to teach abroad. So I think we'll start with kind of the before you guys went to Thailand and how that all happened. And then we'll talk about kind of the experience in both of the programs. And then we'll get a little bit more into life after and kind of what's next for all of you. So I guess my first question, and I think we can raise hands for this one, is how many of you, because I mean, this is a small chunk of the group of everyone that went to Thailand and then ended up going to Spain together, but how many of you knew each other before you left and knew anyone in the program before you left? Ooh.
None of us.
No.
Oh.
None. So I think to me, that's like the most interesting thing is like, you guys didn't know each other. I mean, this was not like a planned thing of, a friend group from college went to teach abroad together. Really, you did organically meet each other on the program itself. And so what were those first moments like? Like, did you all really connect at orientation, or like what was the moment that you all connected? And anyone can speak to this this particular moment. Emma, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah. So just a little background, because we're kind of a couple years out now, but this was all during COVID. And I think that was also a big push for all of us, like antsy people at home, to want to get out and do something and maybe like escape real world for a sec. But anyway, so our orientation was all online during our quarantine. We did, I think it was 10-day quarantine. And so we were all like next to each other in the hotel room, but we didn't really know even. And so then when we finally got to have like our first day out, and after seeing each other like on the computer screen for like 10 days and then finally get to meet each other, it was like so fun because we were so deprived of connection in general. And so I think that also really helped. And I think like that first weekend, we were just like, oh my gosh, like we had really connected because we were like the I feel like we all had this recurring conversation of like the type of people that want to do this program is like the type of people who kind of want to get out of their shell and like want to do something new and experience like adventure. And so we were like all of those traits really bonded us. And of course then we just got to know each other on deeper levels. And but I think that's like what the original like first moments were coming out of quarantine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I always forget about that things were much different back when you guys first started the program in Thailand with the quarantine and everything like that. And so then I mean, if you guys want to go ahead, I think we can go around too. I always like to get a quick snapshot as well of exactly where you were in life and like your situation right before you went abroad. I mean, were you like a recent graduate? Were you working full time? And kind of, you know, what you were up to as you decided to embark on this now year-long journey of teaching abroad. So Gabby, why don't you go first?
Yeah, I had graduated in 2020, which, as Emma mentioned, high peak COVID time was just around then. Um, I had started working as a marketing coordinator for a company. I don't know, I worked in a gallery. I did a lot of little things that were open and that I could work at because obviously during COVID there was nothing happening. And then 1 year goes by and I start looking into doing something else, as in, like, I don't know, moving across the world. Um, and I actually vividly remember I started an application for CIEE and then I thought, I don't know. And I waited it out. And then it was like, oh, past the deadline. And I thought, darn, okay, I'm not meant to do it. And then the deadline was extended. And I thought, oh, maybe I am meant to go. Maybe I am meant to try this out. So I ended up being one of the ones to submit an application, you know, as the deadline extended, which I do not recommend. It worked out perfectly and swimmingly for me. But if you know you want to teach abroad, upload your application early. Um, and yeah, so that's kind of where I was. I was like a year post grad, not really sure what to do, just like so many other people. Um, but yeah, that's kind of where I was.
Excellent, excellent. What about you, Kaylee?
I graduated college in 2021, in May, and then we all went to Thailand that October. So when I was a senior, I knew that I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. I didn't know if I wanted to use my degree or not, but I knew I wanted to travel still, and I've always liked working with kids. So this is like the perfect combination. And I had never been to Asia, so I figured go big or go home. And I applied to Thailand. I had heard things about CIEE from other people at my school, and never the Thailand program though, always the Spain program.
Mm,
So really just went for it, and I have no regrets ever of doing it.
yeah, yeah. Took a dive and it worked out. Love it. What about you, Jillian? What were you doing before going to Thailand?
Yeah. So I was in my senior year of college, and I'd had the previous summer a study abroad program canceled that I had been registered for.
Mm,
Um, so I just really had this desire to travel. I really wanted to get abroad and like spend a significant amount of time traveling. And I knew I didn't want to get a job after graduation right away. And so I was actually looking into like volunteering programs in Thailand.
mm,
And I was just thinking to myself, like, I don't know how I can sustain traveling long term, like financially. It just doesn't, I'm not sure if it makes sense for me. And then I got an email from the study abroad program at my university, and it was like teach in Thailand. And I was like, wait, like I could do this. Like I have background working with kids. I want to travel long term, and this is a way that you could do it and make money and sustain that long term and like form the community and do all of that. And so it just kind of worked out perfectly.
yeah, great, great. And what about you, Emma?
Yeah, some similar things. I had graduated in 2021, also in COVID, and just I was in the College of Education, so obviously I wanted to be a teacher. But my program didn't allow us to study abroad. That just wasn't part of, it wasn't a choice. So I was also really itching because a lot of my friends had studied abroad in college. So, and I had remembered I looked at CIEE like at some point, maybe like my sophomore year, junior year or something, and it was like one of the qualifications was you need like a degree.
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, okay, like I can't do it like over the summer or something. So I just like remember, I think I like wrote it down in my notes on my phone, and then I looked into it after I graduated. And it was also I think I applied on the last day, not the extension, but the last day before they extended it. And I had looked and I was like, oh, like should I do Madrid or Thailand? And Madrid was already fully booked. They weren't accepting anymore. So I was like, sure, Thailand. And I honestly didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then I just was like, let's do it. So yeah.
That sometimes that's the best way, honestly. That you just pull the trigger and hope for the best. And I think especially with a program like CIE, because we do so much helping you with the move and everything like that, you're in the best hands. So but yeah, that's great. And I think one other thing I wanted to ask you guys as well, just for folks to see, I know that we know that there's a lot of people that come from different backgrounds. Of course, we have a lot of folks that come from an education background from college. But what was your official major or minors at school? And I'll go around the same way, and I'll start with Gabby.
My degree was in graphic design.
Graphic design. Okay, Kaylee.
Communication.
Communications. Jillian.
Biological anthropology.
Oh, okay. Emma.
Education.
Education. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's really cool to see that. I mean, literally every single one of you had a different background in terms of your bachelor's degree, which is pretty representative of our programs. So I know Emma mentioned being between Madrid and Thailand, and then Kaylee also mentioned being between Madrid or having seen Spain in the options and then ultimately choosing Thailand. So either of you can answer, I mean, any of you can answer this question, but why should someone if you're between two destinations, and I know Kaylee is an expert on this because she wrote a blog post on it, I know this, but, but why should someone choose Thailand instead of Spain, in your guys' opinion?
I can say something. I think if it kind of depends on what kind of difference you want to experience when you go abroad. Because if you are a little hesitant about going abroad and you want something a little more comfortable, I'd say start with Spain because it's not obviously the same as like the States if that's where you're coming from, but there's a lot of similarities and like just the vibe overall of it, and like the transition is not really huge. But if you want something super different, super brand new, I would say definitely go to Thailand. It was definitely a culture shock in a good way, but a lot of differences. I feel like I grew the most as a person when I was in Thailand. And I learned so much about like the world and the people. And so I think it's like a personal preference, like how much of a jump you want for yourself. How you could decide.
Yeah, absolutely. While we're on the topic of comparing too, does anyone want to compare the difference between the teaching role itself? Because I think that's another big one. I mean, of course, location is a huge choice to make, but the nature of the teaching role is quite different from Spain to Thailand. So if anyone wants to speak on that difference and kind of what you experienced on the teaching role itself.
Yeah. So in Thailand, at least in my experience, I know that some people had a co-teacher in Thailand. I did not. I was the sole teacher in the classroom, creating my own lessons, designing my own curriculum, tests, quizzes, homework, all of that. Like I created all of that. I graded all of that based off of the textbooks provided to me. And in Spain, I was just an assistant in the classroom. So I'm just there to help maybe do like some circle time with the kids, like that kind of thing. There's always another teacher there to help you and support you. you're going along with the curriculum that the teacher has designed, or most often a lesson the teacher has designed, and less so like doing that kind of work yourself. You're just assisting in the classroom. Like for me, I could just show up in Spain and not have anything prepared. I also worked in preschool, so that's different. But um, definitely the work that you're putting into it outside of the classroom is different. Um, yeah, but neither is positive or negative or anything. It's just different. And like Kaylee said, it's just what your personal preference is. Some people might prefer to run their own classroom and design their own lessons and that kind of thing. It's a valuable experience. And you can connect with your kids differently when you're the only one there. And some people might prefer to have less of the responsibility and less of the sole role of lesson planning and kind of that sort of thing that you get in Spain, or just your comfortability with teaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah,
can
go
kind
ahead.
of jump off of that. Like, I agree with Jillian. I did have a co-teacher in all of my classes, um, which, so for example, if I'm like teaching a lesson and I'm with first graders who have low level of English, like she would help and like stand up there and do some translating for me sometimes because they just needed that. Um, but yeah, the workload is definitely more, as well as the hours you work. In Madrid, we work 4 hours, sorry, 4 days a week. So you either get the Monday or the Friday off, and then like I think it's 16 hours, correct? Yeah. So it's 16 hours a week, so like about 4 hours a day, 5 hours if you have breaks and stuff. And then in Thailand, yeah, it's more full on. You're working the 5 days a week, like the full school day. Um, of course, like you're not teaching the whole time. You have like kind of blocks where you have your planning time, or you can go outside, and the schedules are quite different, but it is a 5 day work week. So there's, yeah, definitely a higher workload, but it's, yeah, like you said, like it's also kind of fun to experiment in that kind of way. And at least my school was very helpful with all the stuff, and like anyone that you can ask for help, like will help you if you're like, I don't know what to plan for this. Like there will be people that can help you through that, because it is kind of intimidating and scary, like obviously, but there's people around to help you with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's just a consideration that, I mean, especially if anyone is open to location, just that's like the next thing I would consider is the type of teaching role that you want to have. And then of course, the type of compensation. If you're working a full-time role like you are in Thailand, the pay is going to be higher in comparison to cost of living. Whereas in Spain, the pay is much lower in comparison to cost of living because you all only are technically working part-time, even though like Emma said, you might be at school for longer than those 16 hours because it's 16 classroom hours that you're working. But yeah, thank you all for sharing that comparison. I think the next question I have, because it's you are a friend group, you met at orientation, that was kind of the genesis of everything. But I'm curious to know, and I know that you guys traveled in groups for the time that you were in Thailand for the most part, but what was that moment like when like you decided that you were all going to then apply to teach in Spain? And I know I asked Gabby to think about this yesterday preemptively before the conversation. So I'll go with you, Gabby, to kind of share your perspective on when was that moment that that decision was made.
So we, like Emma said, were so deprived of connection, I think, prior to the Thailand experience. So immediately when we got released from quarantine, we were like completely obsessed with each other in a way. And we were like, I don't know. We just like, I don't know. It was a genuine, deep connection from like the beginning. I don't know. It was just chill to hang out with each other. So, at any given chance that we could, we would be trying to schedule weekends where one of us would go visit another person's town. Because, we were spread across Thailand. It's not like all of us were located in Bangkok or in Chiang Mai or whatever.
Yep.
So, one of the weekends that we had scheduled a trip to see each other, we were in Chiang Mai. And at least this, like, I think is what I would recall the moment.
Yes.
We were all being so obnoxiously loud
At the
at
taco place.
the taco place, and it was like delicious. However, we were all like, I don't even know how many of us were there at the time, maybe like 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, like we took it over. It was horribly embarrassing, but just so much fun. And I don't remember who it was. It could have been Kaylee, but someone was just like, guys, we love each other. We love hanging out. Like, we don't want this to end. Maybe we should go somewhere else next. Like, someone had said, I'd been thinking of going to Spain. And all of us were like, I guess I could make that happen. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. It's just like, I don't know. That was like my first impression of being able to meet people who are just so, yes, I want to travel. Yes, I want to see new things. Yes, I want, like, I don't care what it takes. I'm going to get there. And I feel like that was so refreshing to have to confide in immediately, especially when you're across the world. So anyway, all of us having that same mindset was like, yeah, why not? And at least for me, that was kind of the explanation. If you guys have a different reaction, or I don't know.
Did she get it right?
Sure it was at that restaurant though. Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, just for context for folks too, you ladies all went on the October departure for Thailand, right? And you had signed up for a 6-month contract, is my understanding. So October, and then you're usually done sometime in April. And then you all taught abroad that fall in Spain. So there was a period of time where you guys were in between programs and you were at home. I just like to mention that because it is not immediate to go from one program to the next. That's a misconception big time, I think, that you can just, go from Thailand to Spain. The reality is that it was Thailand back home to the US, preparing documents, and then eventually going to Spain together. And from what I remember, you guys departed all at different times for Spain for the most part. I know that some of you, I know like Kaylee and Gabby, and I think Arena too, you guys were in the same orientation group, but for the most part, it was kind of staggered, your guys' arrival. So how was like the re-encounter, like how was it kind of resettling in another country as a friend group? Like how did that work? How did it work out? And anyone can answer that question. Jillian, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, also another thing to mention is that two of our lovely friends who are not on this webinar right now, Rachel and Mary stayed in Thailand for that second semester. And then they got back to the States in October, November, and they came to meet us in Spain in January. So like, yeah, so they went back to the States, had like that still kind of a couple months of buffer to get their visas turned around, and then came to Spain in the January start, which was incredible. I think that we all also about like the kind of staggering with the orientation and that kind of thing. We all got home and like we all live in completely different parts of the US also. Like I have never seen any of them in the States still. Like
only international friendships at this point.
Yeah. But I think that, we all just kind of decided on the days of orientation that worked for us. And a lot of us decided to live separately, find our own apartments, and kind of just expand our friend group even more. But I think the first time that we all got to see each other in Spain, what exactly did we do? Does anyone remember like the first time that we saw each other?
I feel like we went out for Thai food.
Yes, because you guys had gotten there a lot earlier than me. Like,
yeah, you were on older, right, Emma?
I was really late.
Yeah.
I was having problems. So I was a little bit late, but I do think, yeah, we got Thai food.
Kidding.
I mean, it has to be right.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Gabby and I were orientation roommates in Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We told ourselves, okay, when we first enter, we're going to allow ourselves to live together during the first 4 days we get in Spain. But like Jillian said, we were like, okay, guys, if we don't live with other people, like, how are we going to force ourselves to meet other people? So
Right.
that's the reason we kind of chose to live elsewhere. But yes, I did have, it was beautiful having Kaylee during that orientation week. And
Yeah,
I
it's
think
fun.
we
That was when
also,
Gabby started her influencer era with CIEE, and she was always making TikToks.
Yeah, Kaylee made some appearances at the beginning of
Yeah.
Gabby's as an ambassador. That's
a
for sure.
trooper, truly.
Yeah.
Yes, through the apartment search and everything.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Oh,
That's another
my
thing
God.
though.
We gotta
I feel
talk
like
about that.
before we went to Spain, I remember us all like telling each other where our schools were. We were like mapping it out. And
Yes.
I actually think that map is still saved on my computer. It shows up sometimes. Because we have been joking about getting like a mega mansion house all together.
Mm.
Which like would have been so fun and epic. But I think going into the Spain program, you have no idea like how unrealistic that is. And even if we had all wanted to live together, like just with everyone being in a different school in a different part of the city and like different schedules, like it almost we might not have even hung out all the time. Like I think everyone goes in thinking like, oh, everyone's in Madrid. We can all just like live together wherever we want. But that's not necessarily true. You can make it work. Like no matter where you live, Madrid is very well connected, obviously. But like living separately also helped us to like be live closer to where we need to be for work, and then also get to like see new areas by visiting each other and those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think you, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think the same was true in Thailand too. It was, I mean, you guys were always spread out. It wasn't like you all were in one central area ever on either program. And I think that's really an important message for folks to take home. Not that, I mean, there are preferences that you can put on your application if you want to be with friends in Thailand and in Spain, of course. But there also was a lot of value in like what you guys are saying. It's like, you know, you have a friend group, you have that stability of like, if I need a friend, I got it. But I'm also going to expand my network and also do what's convenient for you. At the end of the day, commuting is not the most fun thing. So, you know, prioritizing that is never a bad idea either. And so, yeah, I mean, just kind of diversifying is a good thing, you know, especially if you come with a group. Yeah, Emma, what do you want to add to that?
Oh, I was just saying, like it can also be scary to be like, okay, well, I need to find a place to live and I don't know anyone. Like, but so you have the orientation where you're in the hotel for a week, I think. And so the program pays for your hotel for a week. And so during that week, you're meeting people, and that's when you're going to do like the apartment tours and everything. It's not advised to do much looking ahead of time. Like, of course, you can look and you can look at areas and stuff, but like you really should be touring the place before you make any decisions. And of course, meeting people in person. Um, also before like you want to live with them. But I do think a lot of people do find people like online before orientation. But also you don't need to do that because there's just people are always like, oh, I'm gonna go to dinner here, let's go explore. And then there's also like kind of like a mentor. I don't know what to call like the people who have the groups and they take you out, and would you call that a mentor?
Orientation leaders.
Yes, the orientation leaders, sorry. And so they also have you in like smaller groups. So it's not like you're here with like 100 people, like they put you in these smaller groups so you can make those connections. I would say expect to pay a little bit out of pocket for a couple of nights at a hotel before finding a place. Like I think all of us had to do that before like moving into our establishments. So that is like I think something you should expect because
Yeah.
maybe you can't find something in 1 week. Maybe it takes 2 weeks or you know, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so the orientation right now is 4 days in Madrid. We had reduced it from when you guys went, it was a week then, but now just 4 days. And yes, I mean, that is the recommendation that if you're going to Spain, and this obviously is covered in the pre-departure course, and we talk about this before you go on program, but yes, securing temporary housing is important while you're looking for an apartment in Spain. And conversely, just to highlight, if you're worried about housing at all, I'm just going to throw that out there. Thailand does provide housing for you. You do not need to search for housing in Thailand. So yet another positive point for Thailand for sure if you're between the two places. So I mean, I'm curious to know as well. So you all had staggered arrivals. You were all kind of doing your own thing. Maybe you guys met up a couple of times. And kind of what was your thought? I mean, I always ask this because I know that some of you stayed for longer than a year. I know like Gabby, for example, did not end up renewing for another year, but went on to Gallivant and other places around the world. How was that decision to either renew or not to renew and stay abroad, once you were kind of solidified in your first year in Spain? And I'll start with Jillian on this one.
Yeah, I think that when I was in Thailand for 6 months, if I hadn't already applied to the Spain program, I would have stayed, because when you're ahead of it and you're thinking about the future, you're like, oh, 6 months, like that's a long time, or a year, oh, that's a big chunk of my life. And then it happens and it goes so quickly. And I think what happened that first year in Spain, it went by so quickly and I loved it. And honestly, it was just like not even a decision. Like it would have made no sense for me to leave, is how it felt. Like you have the ability to renew at your school for a second year. And it just kind of was the general consensus in my head and like a lot of the people around me, there's just like, of course we're gonna stay for another year. And then the second year happened and we were like, all right, yeah, one more time,
Let's do it again.
The third year you have to find a different program. You can't just like stay at the same school, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I never even questioned it. It just felt, I loved Madrid. I loved where I was. I loved my school, my friends. And it just felt like the right thing to do. Like I didn't think too hard about it, honestly.
Yeah, that's great. Because yeah, I mean, I always say too that you do kind of have to make the decision quite quickly into your time abroad. There's only a couple of months that you get where you're, settling in and getting started, and then they do ask you if you want to renew. I think that kind of happens in both cases. Because another thing that I like to emphasize for folks that are thinking about getting into this is that you have to plan. I've already harped on this once about, like there's time that you have to be in between programs if you want to do programs back to back. But again, I mean, there's a lot of planning and thought that goes into every move that you make when you're living abroad. So yeah, Kaylee, do you want to share how you decided and worked through that decision to stay?
I loved my first school that I had in Spain like so much. And I remember at first it took like a little bit of adjusting, like any new transition. And I think it was around Christmas, like December, that I really started to like it. And we were at like our staff Christmas dinner, and my boss looked at me and was like, "So you're staying another year?" And I was like I'm thinking about it. And he was like, "No, you're staying another year." And I was like, "I'm staying another year." And at that point, it had been like about the school very much. Like I loved being in Madrid and I loved my friends, but it was like I really loved that job. And then at the end of the second year, I was so sad that I had to leave that school. But that's when I realized how much I love Madrid, because it was still worth it to like find a new job and like have to readjust to another place and another new thing. But it was worth it to stay in Madrid for longer because oh my God, that city is unbelievable. I am itching to get back. I'm so excited. And even when I'm home, like I feel like Madrid feels more like home than here at this point.
Yeah, 100%. Gabby, what about you? Because you did not decide to renew for another year, but you had other plans in your head about what was next for you.
Biggest regret of my life. No, I'm just kidding. I already had plans to move to New Zealand by the time we were talking about renewing. If I didn't already have plans to move there, I 1000% would have stayed. I was like heartbroken leaving my school. Like Kaylee mentioned, that was like one of my biggest highlights. Other than like Madrid is just such an all-encompassing, incredible place. And I had like such an attachment to my students, such an attachment to obviously these girls, like everybody else that I had met through the program, through random events. Yeah, I had so much FOMO when I had left and everybody stayed. I felt like, what am I doing? but no, it was really, really good. I actually ended up moving, did just a stint in New Zealand with one of the girls that I had met teaching in Thailand, another girl in our friend group. So it all worked out and was a blast. But yeah, I had so much FOMO that everyone stayed. And I mean, every day I think that I need to move back to Europe, specifically Madrid. And as we'll get into it, you'll hear, I don't know if you can hear how loud our trash are. I'm very sorry. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it later, but like Kaylee, Emma, and Jillian all had the pleasure of staying in Europe for quite a bit of time. If not, they're still there. So yeah, I would have stayed, but I had other plans, even though I love it. Love Madrid.
100%. I mean, you never know what's next. And because you have to think ahead so far in advance, you never know exactly how you're going to feel the moment that you have to leave. That's for sure. It's always
Totally.
a hard decision. And Emma, what about you? What was in your head as you were making the decision to stay?
I definitely thought I was gonna renew, like easily. I was like, oh, everyone else is renewing, I'm gonna renew, like obviously. It wasn't until things were getting a little bit more serious with my boyfriend, who I also met in Madrid, and he lives in Berlin. Um, so we were still doing the long distance thing. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna drop this bomb, but yeah. And then I was like,
Wait, you
well,
should bring it. You
Yeah,
should bring
bring
it
it
back.
out.
You didn't meet him in Madrid. You met him in Thailand. Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. Did I
Okay,
say
there we go.
Madrid?
You said
Oh,
Yeah, you did say Madrid,
Well,
but
we're all
oh,
Madrid
sorry.
brain right now. We're all
Sorry,
Madrid
sorry.
brain. So
yeah.
Yes, met him in Thailand. Anyway, so we were long distance, and then I was like, well, if I'm gonna stay another year in Europe, let's try Berlin. And I've loved it. So I've been here. Jillian came to visit me. So yeah, that's kind of my decision. But of course, it was like Abby said, like really hard seeing everyone there still. Um, FOMO was real, but it was like a decision that, yeah, I do feel good about, but it was really hard. Yeah, because I wish I could have stayed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the next question I have for all of you is your biggest tips, because obviously it sounds like the initial community abroad was built, at the orientation in Thailand, right? But obviously you guys have done a lot more of community building for yourselves, especially with having, more longevity of your time abroad, and moving to Berlin or moving to New Zealand or whatever. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you guys have learned along the way, I'm sure, about community building and establishing yourself in a new country. So if you guys can share like your biggest tip on how to build community, apart from the CIE facilitated orientation, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And I'll start with Kaylee.
Okay. This is gonna sound really silly. But I'm speaking specifically for like if you are in Spain and you want to make friends with local people, you have to be annoying in the sense that like you have to show them like how much you want to be friends with them because they say that Spaniards are very like exclusive at first because they have such tight-knit friendships that they like are so comfortable with and are like family. So to get into that is a little difficult. And like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like it can be difficult, but I feel like when you're persistent in like showing interest in having friendships and like learning Spanish and learning about the culture and wanting to be part of it, like they are happy to welcome you and get to know you. And I've been really lucky and I had really, really good relationships with everyone at my first school. And now in my second school, I have like really good friends that are Spanish and I love them and I hang out with them outside of school and keep in contact with them when I'm here in the States. So I always joke that I just annoyed them into being my friends and it worked. So
Yeah, that's a big one. We talk about this a lot in pre-departure, but like really connecting with people at your school, as like a gateway into making local friendships for sure. And I think Kaylee's done a really spectacular job of doing that. I've seen Instagram posts. Okay, I know they're obsessed with you, so that's a really great tip. Yeah. And Jillian, what about you? What would be your advice for community building?
I think that this is a big thing that everyone experiences. No matter what you do, like post college, it is hard to like make connections. I would say my biggest thing is friend dating. Like you have to like you can meet one person, you have to be like, "Can I get your Instagram? Can I get your number?" And then you have to follow up and be like, "Do you want to get coffee this week?" Or like, "Do you want to go for a drink? Do you want to go thrifting? Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to go for the park?" Like you have to actually reach out to people and like it takes time. Like you can like meet someone and be like, okay, they're cool. And then you like hang out with them 3 times and you're like, why do I not feel like so close to them? And like they're my best friend in the whole world. It takes time to like build a relationship with someone and like build a friendship. It's the same in any circumstance, but like even with platonic friendships, like you have to like slowly like build the connection and like build the time. And it's just like you are just like you have to date your friends in a lot of ways. If you want like close friendships, you have to get to know people
Yeah.
and put yourself out
Take your friends on dates, guys. Do it. That's a good one too. Emma, what about you?
I mean, you guys have kind of like nailed it there. I think the only thing I could really add would be just like being open to new things. There's a lot of people in these programs. Like if if you're into this specific thing, odds are someone else is too. Like there's definitely like people who like to go out. There's definitely a lot of people who don't like to go out. There's people who like to go out and be active and hiking. And there's so many different things that you can do in both of the programs that you don't feel like, I don't know how I'm trying to say it, but you don't just like try to put yourself in a bubble, like be your authentic self because you are going to find other people that connect with you in those ways. And then also just be willing to try new stuff. Um, because that's all a part of like the whole experience. So, yeah, I feel like you guys kind of said it all, but
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the Facebook groups for CIE are alive and well, even in 2025. I know Facebook is not a cool place to be anymore, but definitely people still post a lot on that. They get WhatsApp groups together. It's a pretty inviting community, at least from what I see, as an admin online. I mean, people are chatting constantly and introducing themselves and what they like to do so that you can connect with, you can kind of just browse and see if anyone has a similar interest to you if you're going alone. So yeah, that's a good piece of advice. What about you, Gabby?
I was gonna bring up the Facebook group because like one of my favorite people I met abroad, Kaylee found for all of us, Maddie, love her. And they just ended up connecting on Facebook and then being roommates. And so through Kaylee, we all met her. Amazing, amazing. And then also what Kaylee mentioned about like putting towards the effort when you're at the school makes the school experience so much better. You don't feel as alone. You feel, you always have that support system. One of my favorite head teachers, she, love her so much. Like her and I still chat, and she's actually doing what we did, but she's going to Chicago and she's like teaching abroad from Spain. So we plan to meet up later this year. I think also what Emma said, like always being open to whenever we were in the Thailand orientation, I remember someone saying like, always say yes, of course, within reason, like, don't go out and be putting yourself in jeopardy, but like always say yes whenever you're in new experiences, because that's whenever you meet the best people. That's whenever you do like, I don't know, the most memorable experiences aren't going to be the ones that you see coming, I feel like a lot of times. And so I think I've kind of carried that into the Spain during our Spain time. And yeah, it's crazy the relationships and the connections that you'll come out of an experience like this, because while you're living abroad, you're constantly surrounded by people with similar mindsets as you. And like Jillian said too, you have to put the effort into dating your friends or just like going on dates with people to keep that connection going stronger. One of my very best friends, Erin, she's from Australia, and I met her in Spain. Her and I vlog to each other every single day on like Snapchat as if we were vloggers, but it's really just like, here's what's happening in my life right now. Can't wait to see you this year because she's now planning a trip to the United States. So, you never really know. I know. I'm so excited. But like, yeah, always just say yes and always put forth the effort to make those connections with people. Yeah, because you'll never regret it. I mean, so what? You hang out with someone like 10 times in a row and you don't feel as strong of a connection. Well, now you know, and you know it helps you decipher the friendships that you want to keep close to you. So,
Yeah.
all in all, yeah, you'll never regret it.
Yeah, Gabby says don't put yourself in jeopardy. Meanwhile, she's like jumping out of planes and like off the side of a mountain.
Well,
All within reason, guys.
all that's within reason.
Yeah, that's funny.
Of an Enneagram
Pulling
7,
from
it's
you,
all
Gabby.
within reason.
Okay, so getting into like now that Aaron's coming to visit you in the US and like one of your teachers in Spain is now going to Chicago. My question is, I'm super curious, what is the craziest coincidence that has happened to you while teaching abroad and being abroad in a long time? I mean, I think a crazy coincidence for me on the back end of things is that Gabby was an ambassador for Spain. She was living in an apartment. She took pictures out the window of her apartment. The year later, the next girl that I hired as a social media ambassador literally was in the same apartment as Gabby. Like, what are the chances? Madrid is the capital city of Spain. There's hundreds of people that do the program, and the two people that I chose as an ambassador were living in the same apartment in Madrid. Crazy. But things like that happen all the time. So I'm sure you guys have some wild stories too. Maybe you guys need some time to think. I should have asked this question. So you can think about it.
I'm blanking.
You mean like a weird connection type story?
Yeah, like weird connection, like things just happen to like fall into place in a crazy way. I mean, I think another good example is like how things end up happening in terms of like finding housing. I know like I was looking for housing on my program with a whole bunch of people that I had met at orientation. And a lot of Minnesotans. I'm originally from Minneapolis. We had a meetup before we left, so we kind of knew each other. And then none of us ended up living together, but two of us ended up living in the same building. So that was kind of a crazy coincidence of how things shook out for housing. But it looks like Emma maybe has a story.
No, I was just saying connection because I'm also from Minneapolis.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love it. What part of Minneapolis?
I grew up in Egan.
Egan. Okay. I'm from Richfield.
Where?
Richfield.
Ah, okay. Yeah,
Right by
you're
the airport and the Mall of America.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
great.
like, I feel for this, it's so hard to think of one instance because they happen constantly. Like they happen all the time. I will say, unfortunately, Rachel and Mary are not here, but I feel like half of the people I met abroad were from Missouri. Like we were constantly meeting people from Missouri all the time. Like constantly.
I don't know how I didn't think of that to say that. But you're so right.
Like, in Thailand, like we had people from Missouri, and then we went to Spain, and like literally we had two of our like really close friends our second year in Spain were also from Missouri, and like literally had gone to Mizzou, and like it's just crazy. And then like literally Gabby, we were in Morocco in February and we met like 3 more people from Missouri. They're everywhere.
What is happening?
Forming.
I need to be going back to Europe to meeting my European Missourian people. When I vividly remember being in the Thailand orientation week or right after the week, and we were in a phone store and I was wearing like rings. I don't know. I have this one ring with coordinates on it to my favorite piano bar that was on Mizzou's campus, like, in Missouri. And I hear like next to me these two girls, which at the time I didn't know them, but they were Rachel and Mary, which we love to call the fairy princesses because they are just the most selfless, amazing beings ever. They're talking about Missouri and they're talking about Mizzou and the campus. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's happening here? Like, I know what you're talking about. And they're like, oh yeah, we went to this this other college that's on the same campus as the college that I went to. Like, we probably went to the same locations. They're like, I know exactly what piano bar is on your ring. Like, we've been there a dozen times. Crazy. And then flash forward to Spain. I vividly remember meeting these two guys who also are from the St. Louis area. And I was like, what is happening? Because I feel like a lot of times in certain states, you're like, nobody wants to get out of the state. Like, you know, you never meet people who are from the same state as
You
you.
have to go all
across
the way
the
to
world.
Thailand to meet someone from
Yes.
Missouri.
Apparently I do. So Jillian, that is crazy. I cannot believe how many Missouri people you've met.
I love that.
Way to represent for Missouri. I love that.
Yeah. Any other coincidences, quinky dinks? Anyone? You can think on it. I can go to the next question.
I can think of other people having coincidences. I can't think of one for myself.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
that's someone.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, this is like kind of removed from the program, but like one time I was like at the club with my friends and I met this kid who was from the exact town that I grew up in, and he like knew exactly the house that I grew up in. And that was crazy.
Whoa.
I
And
remember
Time,
that.
right place.
when you're abroad, when you travel, the world just becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. Like there is a
Truly.
connection everywhere with anything. Like it's
Truly.
I
I just
She's
I'll
got
go,
What?
Kaylee.
It just came to my mind. I didn't think of this first. One of my best friends I met in Spain. I don't know, she didn't come to my head. Our second year, one of the friends that I had met the first year, her name's Cassie. Some of you guys know her. She had switched apartments, and so when she came back the second year, we went to go like help her set up whatever. And her roommate that none of us knew, was just like a random girl, came in and we were doing introductions, and she said she was from New York, and I was like, oh my God, me too. What part? And she was like, I'm from Orange County. You probably don't know it. And I was like, I'm from Orange County, which, it's random. And then I asked her what town, and she's from the town right next to me.
Hmm.
And she went to the high school. My mom is a teacher. She didn't have her, but she knew her. So there's my connection. Oh my goodness. And now we get to hang out in the summer because she's 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I mean, that's crazy. I think that was like really eye-opening when I first went to teach abroad, was like how many weird connections there were in the Facebook group. Again, to bring it back to the Facebook group, like seriously, I met up with like 15 people at a local brewery before we even went abroad. And like half of us, so back in my day, we had it was called basics for people who already had, like, you had to prove that you had experience in Spain or that you had a certain level of Spanish to be able to apply for the program. And so I was in the basics group, which our orientation was like a day. But like the people that were in the group had time in Spain before. And so like there was just some like weird connections with like, we had overlapped time at studying abroad. So like we were not in the same program, but we were in Madrid at the same time. And like very like tangential like experiences with like learning Spanish and like being in Spain and things like that. So it was like meeting people that are you, but in a different timeline, which was freaky. And how common your experiences are, which are it's kind of fun to meet people that are so similar to you, when you're not expecting that. But yeah, so we're coming to the end of the interview, and the last question I've been asking everyone is, well, actually, for you guys, I'll ask kind of what is the vision for your future and kind of what you're thinking of doing next. And I know that that's the golden question. You might not have all the answers to that, but just to kind of pick your brain on where you're at, post CIEE Teach Abroad experiences. So I'll start with Gabby.
Beautiful. Yeah, like I said in the beginning of this webinar, I currently work for CIEE as a Teach and TEFL assistant, and I absolutely love it. I think it's really fun getting to spend my days talking to little mini me's and like mini us's, because it's essentially people who are just debating on trying a new experience, debating on going abroad, and debating on doing the exact same programs that I've done, and I absolutely love it. So I think futuristic wise, I would love to continue working for a global exchange company, whether that's CIEE, or anything else. I just kind of love making people go out of their comfort zones, love making people get out of their hometowns, and experiencing new cultures. So yeah, I could totally see myself continuing to do this. I could see myself moving back to Europe.
Come on over. Come on over.
And yeah, so I think that's my open-ended answer as of now, because totally, I wish I had all the answers, Rachel. I really did.
You never know. You never know. But yeah, that's cool that you get to share your experience with others that are now looking to do the same thing as
For
I
sure.
do. Kaylee, what about you?
I think this question. Like I said it before, I'm going into year 4 in Madrid, and I would be happy to stay there longer. I guess we'll kind of see at the end of this year. I know that I want to stay abroad, regardless of where it is. I love just being out of my I mean, it's comfortable now, but like out of my comfort zone and meeting new people all the time and getting to travel so much. And like building a life in another place, like you get to plant these little seeds of like home all over the world, which is so cool. Like you make these connections in so many countries. And I feel like there's so much momentum behind it for the past few years. I think if I stopped, I don't know, I'd get a little bored. So I'm gonna keep
Italy?
going.
You're a CIE TEFL alumni, so you could go on any one of the alumni opportunities.
That is true. I got a little perk. Do your CIE TEFL, everybody.
The options, the world is your oyster with CIE TEFL job placement
It really
opportunities.
is. Shiny little oyster.
Exactly. So Madrid for the next year, and then we'll see. Jillian,
Yeah,
what about you?
catch me next September. I'll see what's up.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll do this yearly.
Yeah. Perfect.
Jillian, what about you?
Yeah, so I just got back from Madrid at the end of June. So I'm kind of in a transition period right now. My hopes are to go back abroad in the next couple of years, hopefully on a more permanent basis, not on that student visa anymore, you know? Yeah. Yeah, the hope is I want to get my master's, and then hopefully I can work with an international organization. I love to work in the public health sphere. So kind of trying to transition into that field. But also, I think that I've spent pretty much every day of the last 4 years with children. And I'm definitely like feeling missing that, like having that energy and being around kids. It's just like it's so invigorating and fulfilling. So I'd love to like orient my future to also not necessarily on the teaching side of things, but working with kids on like a day-to-day basis in some capacity.
Sure. Well, maybe you don't have the answer to this yet, but what are you planning to get your master's in?
So I'm shopping around some master's programs right now, but it's going to be something in the realm of public health or global health.
Okay. Perfect. Good luck. I know that the search for master's programs is tough, but I'm sure you'll find a program that's right for you. And
Jillian,
Emma, what about you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna jump in and say that we interviewed someone earlier this week, Jillian, and she was explaining how school is like her hobby, and she is like getting all these degrees, and she loves it. And I told Rachel after the interview, should I go get my master's somewhere internationally? Like, is that my next step? Like, like, should that be my next hobby? I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was really cute watching her talk. Yeah. She was like, yeah, I'm getting this degree here, this degree here, this degree here. And I'm like, I kind of want to be you. So yeah, that's a cool route to take. Sorry, Emma, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I am here in Berlin. I really like the school that I'm at. And now that I'm kind of in this international school, which is a little bit different than teaching in Thailand and Spain, it's a whole different level of intercultural, because all my students are from all over the world, which is really, really cool. And so I just love being a part of that world, and I really like Berlin, so I'm kind of chilling here. So I guess I can't also say I know what's necessarily coming in the future, but I think it's going to be here for a bit, and yeah.
Are you at an international school currently?
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. International schools sound like a really fun time, honestly. From things that I've heard from friends and whatnot. And another thing I'll say about grad school is that I taught abroad, I went back home, and then I went to grad school abroad. And it afforded me a little bit more of time abroad. And I'm still abroad, so I can't really talk. I never went back. Never went back after my master's degree. So,
we're all one and the same.
yeah. So anyway, thank you guys so much. Is there any like last piece of wisdom that you want to share with folks that are looking to go to Spain or to Thailand or anywhere? I really appreciate you all joining today and sharing your stories.
I have one tip.
Yes.
That is, when you are applying for your visa and you have to take a passport photo, just know that's what's going to be on your visa. Okay? I didn't know that. And I was stuck with the scariest looking thing because I thought, oh, this is just the application. No, that is going to be your photo on the card. So just be aware of that.
On a similar note, know that if you go to Spain, you do have to take photos there as well for your identity card. And that also will be a permanent thing that you'll have to look at. Okay. I learned that one the hard way too. So that's a really good piece of advice.
Yeah.
You know what though? No photos are more attractive than the Thai visa photos. That
The worst photos we've ever taken in our life.
The work permit where they Photoshop you. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah, insane.
You guys literally.
Oh yes, we can
Oh no, she has
show and tell.
So this is my Metro card
here's
in
the photo.
Madrid. Like, you guys, it's haunting me. It's everywhere.
You can't get away from it.
And also, like, I could probably retake the photos, but I'm just like, this is me now, and she follows me everywhere.
Like you get the pack of photos. There's so many. So it's like, why would I throw these away? Yeah, I feel that.
I absolutely love that. And I love that in every other webinar interview. It's like, okay, what's the last tip that you needed to say? And everyone's like, oh, just do it. It'll change your life. And all of us are like, make sure you get your photos not looking like I did.
This is an extra piece of expert wisdom, honestly.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's so perfect.
But also, yes, just do it and feel confident in the unknown, because you're going to be questioning a lot of stuff and it's scary, and you will go through some stress and be like, am I making the right choice? But then just ride it out, because it really is like worth it. And obviously, like, we're addicted to this lifestyle. So yeah, just there. Is that better, Gabby?
No. Your
Perfect.
first tip of advice was the best I've ever heard.
Yeah,
but I love the closing end. Yes.
Okay, well, I'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys for the folks that attended live. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching all the way to the end. And yeah, ladies, thank you so much for joining, and I wish you all the best in your next endeavors.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.